What up? It's 929 WDUP, New London's home of timeless hip hop and R&B. That was Naughty by Nature, OPP. But we gotta switch gears right now. We have the legendary, Grammy Award winning, Image Award winning, and exactly what we need right now. We need some Jesus in our life right now. We have Yolanda Adams. How are you doing?
I'm fantastic. Thank you so much for having me.
Thanks for calling in. So what are you doing to get through this crazy time we're living in right now?
Hey, I'm doing what I normally would do. I'm still eating well. I am taking care of my body, my mind, and my soul. I am making sure that I'm loving, I'm kind, I'm forgiving. And, this time is teaching us that, some of the stuff that we majored on was so silly.
Yeah.
Having fights and fusses with our family members. Now you can't, you can't see them because of the quarantine and the self-imposed, quarantines that are going on right now. The stuff that we thought we had to hustle and do, now it's like, okay, we can't do that. What really matters? What do I really love? What am I passionate about? Let me concentrate on that.
Right.
So it's teaching us that we do have the time to sit back, relax, and say, you know what, let me take inventory of my life. What have I done up to this point? What should I be doing fast forward, once we can get out, once we can congregate again? Are we going to still have those family feuds, or are we going to squash that and love one another? Because, I was saying on my show this morning, love is a command. It's not a suggestion. No. We are supposed to love each other. And I think now people are seeing that some of the petty spats and squabbles that folks would have on Instagram and Facebook and all social media, now they really don't matter. Because we're all in the same boat. I don't care if you're rich. I don't care if you're, middle class, you're poor. We're all in the same boat. All of us can't get no toilet paper.
Absolutely.
You see what I'm
Toilet
saying?
paper shortage is super real. So, Yolanda, everybody knows you probably like the face of gospel music. But for those who may not know, can you give a quick backstory? How did you get to start in the gospel? How were you discovered? Can you run that down real quick?
Oh, of course, no problem. I was born into a family of amazing parents, mom and dad, who were musically talented. My mom was always our minister of music director at our churches. My dad was always on one of the boards of the church, but my dad was very athletic. My dad was like Carl Lewis was in his day, so my dad was Major Adams, and he's in the Drake Relays Hall of Fame and all of that good stuff. So, I come from athletic, musical, well-balanced family. We weren't the kind of family that couldn't listen to R&B and country and all of these things. As a matter of fact, my mom was a music major, so those things were honored in our house, all types of genres, all types of music, and there was not a requirement for me to sing gospel music. Of course, I sang it in the church choir,
right,
but it wasn't a requirement for me. I just chose to do it because I had a passion for it. And because I had a passion for it, at 13, I joined this choir that was already recording, already traveling all over the world. And so I became one of the lead singers of the Southeast Inspirational Choir. And that's where Thomas Woodfield from Detroit, who was the super producer at that time, saw me and said, hey, I want to record you. And at a tender age of 20, what was I, 22, 25, one of those, I recorded with him. And the rest is history, because I went from there to Ben Tankard and George King's label. And then from there, I went to Benson Records. From there, I went to, oh my God, it wasn't Epic at the time. It was what Epic is now. And then, what's the one? Oh, Sylvia Bone from Elektra Records.
Yep, I know about her.
Oh my gosh, she came to one of our tours, and she was like, oh my God, I absolutely love you. I love you more live. She said, I want to sign you, but I don't want to change who you are. Would you promise me that you will keep that fire? I'm like, of course. And then she said, who's your dream team? Who would you like to record with? You have carte blanche. You can do anything you want to. I'm like, okay, well, Jimmy and Terry, they're my favorites, Jimmy Jam and Terry Lewis.
Yeah.
I didn't sign with them at the time because they were launching Min Condition, Sounds of Blackness, and several other folks had one time on their Flight Time records.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, it's kind of, there's a lot of people that were just launching. So I'm like, nah, I mean, I'm going to pass.
Wow.
And thank God I did, because I had the budgets that I needed to do several records with them. And the rest is history. Yeah. And here we are.
So, coming up, especially because, back in the 90s, that was like the golden era for like, the R&B hip hop thing. Were you ever tempted to do an R&B album back then?
No, back then I never was, because, like I said before, I had a passion for gospel music, and I absolutely loved it. Although, like I said, all my life I've listened to everything from Bach, Beethoven, bebop, just classical music, all kinds of stuff. But I just loved gospel music.
Right. So, what's your current thoughts on the current state of gospel music right now? And is there like a next generation of gospel singers such as yourself moving forward?
Oh my gosh, there's so many great gospel singers. Anita Wilson, Jacqueline Carr, Leandria Johnson. Of course, Tomei has another album coming out. Oh my gosh, there's so many people. Brian Courtney Wilson, one of my favorite male singers. Gene Moore is one of my favorite male singers as well. And they have these smooth voices that are, they transcend genres. Again, I love artists who can transcend genres. When you think of their music, you think of it as global. You don't just think of it as, okay, we're going to pinpoint this person and put them in gospel music. Although we understand our genre, we do know that the capability of going globally with the message of hope is always there.
Yeah. Yeah, so going back to your career, what was your first I made it moment when you feel like you actually took that leap into where you're currently at now?
Wow, I think it was when I knew I had to do this full time, as opposed to, I was a teacher for 7 years,
right.
Second, third grades, all subjects. I think when I could not make it back to my classroom was one of those moments. And then the epitome of those moments was when I had to appear on Jay Leno. I'm like, okay, yeah, okay. I made it.
Hey, like when you was coming up, did you have stage fright? Because there's a lot of singers out here, and I like to ask the questions, to show the kind of, not ups and downs, but, things you could come to experience coming up as a singer, Like, what was your experience behind that?
Well, here's the thing about stage fright. When you grow up doing something, you really don't have stage fright. Right. It's when... And I can only speak for myself, because I never had it. Now, I have those moments where I can do a TV taping, I'm done, I get back to the hotel to catch the red eye back home or whatever, and they're now playing what I did on West Coast time. Right. And I look at it and I'm like, oh my gosh, I should have done this, I should have done that, second guessing myself, that kind of stuff. Then that's when I get nervous, when I see the play back. And I know that seems so like backwards, but that's when it happens for me. Yeah. But I've never been afraid of going on stage. Christina Aguilera actually said something to me when we did the Grammys that one year. Said, Miss Yolanda, you never get stage fright? I said, I've never gotten stage fright because I know that what I'm about to do is going to help somebody out there. If it's a little girl or a little boy that sees me doing what I'm doing and they want to do what I do, then all of a sudden I'm giving them the strength to say, hey, you can do this with all your might, with all your heart, with all your passion. Just mean it and love it.
Absolutely. And do you actually train other vocalists? Because I saw your Soul Train video of you actually giving singers vocal lessons, and I tried some myself, but it didn't work for me.
Because you're a DJ, you got that thing happening already.
I tried it though. Like now, you mentioned something like the circular motion, like you gotta like breathe in through your nose and then like exhale through your esophagus or something. I tried it, it didn't work for me. But do you train other vocalists at all?
You know why? Because you're thinking too hard.
Okay.
Because we breathe normally like that.
Yeah.
And I think when somebody says, okay, now breathe, You're in your mind, you're like, well, I'm breathing.
Right.
And you already breathe the correct way.
Yeah.
So I think what happens is a lot of people take that instruction and they're like, oh my gosh, I gotta breathe. Well, you do that normally. Calm down. And see, singing is one of those talents that you have to be at ease for the notes to come out right. You cannot be tensed up because people hear that in your voice. They can hear when you're afraid. They can hear when you're mad. They can hear when you're unsure. So you have to be so grounded and peaceful. That's why I pray and meditate a lot.
Yep.
But I only give advice when I'm asked because I don't want people to think that I'm trying to tell them how to do what they do.
Right.
So, I have certain people come to me and say, what can I take for my voice because so-and-so and so-and-so. And the first thing that I ask them is, are you sleeping well at night?
Right.
Because the body needs to recover. Doing a 30-minute presentation or a 1-hour concert is really like doing an 8-hour to 10-hour job for most people.
Right.
That's how much energy you expel. And so when you know those things, you take care of your body. When you know those things, you have an exercise regimen. When you know those things, you take care of what you put into your body. The foods that you put into your body, the liquids you put into your body, the solids you put into your body. That's very, very important. But I never, volunteer the information. If someone asks, I'll definitely tell them.
Right, absolutely. So, as far as you gave all the vocalists advice, but anybody trying to break into the music game, the gospel music situation, how can they actually go about doing that?
Well, gospel music, hip-hop, R&B, whatever genre, they can be trying to break into country music. It is the same across the board. Number one, know your genre.
Right.
Know the history of your genre. Don't come in here thinking that you're taking over and you're doing something that nobody else has done. Child, they've been doing what you've been doing since the beginning of the world. So, get off of that and concentrate on being the most amazing artist that you can be. People sing in their showers.
Yeah.
So people can sing. But what you're trying to do is develop into a lifetime artist.
Right.
I look at people like Smokey Robinson, who was singing before both of us were born.
Yeah.
Is still touring, well, of course not now during quarantine, but he's still touring, he's still making records, he's still doing television and everything. He's a lifetime artist. Before Aretha Franklin passed, she was a lifetime artist.
Absolutely.
Mariah Carey is a lifetime artist. I'm thinking about all of these people who are still doing what they do. Dolly Parton, oh my gosh, she's a lifetime artist. This is what you want. You want artistry. You want to be able to do what you do for the rest of your life, so that when you want to take a year vacation or 2 years sabbatical to write and, do whatever you need to do, you can. But the end game for everything is to be a lifetime artist. I look at Snoop. Snoop has reinvented himself over and over and over and over again. And, it's a long way from that first thing he did with Dr. Dre.
Because he put out his own gospel album, and Kanye's doing the same. Even Malice from the Clips. What do you think about hip hop artists actually pivoting to gospel music? What's your thoughts on that?
Well, I think it's a natural progression. Listen, everybody on this earth has some spiritual practice, whatever it is. If your spiritual practice is basketball and you go to the basketball games faithfully and you root for your team, you have a spiritual practice.
Absolutely.
So it's not just religion. It is, it's your faith that makes the difference. I can't tell Snoop he doesn't have faith. As a matter of fact, I know him, so I know he has faith.
Right.
And I just believe with every singer on earth, some of the most famous people started out in church. Elvis, Michael Jackson and his family, they started, when they all had faith, although it was the Jehovah's Witness faith, they still have faith. You got a lot of rappers who are Nation of Islam, or, your faith, whatever your faith is, it's going to come out in who you are, because it's a natural progression.
Right.
And so I've never, and I can speak for myself and my team, we've always wanted people to not be afraid to express what they believe.
Right.
Because, again, it's a natural progression. It's like breathing.
Yeah.
If you wake up in the morning and the first thing you say when you get up is, "Woo, thank you, God, for waking me up," that's a natural progression. It's gonna come out in what you do. And I'm very excited about folks like Chance the Rapper, who's not afraid to say, "Yeah, I love God. I really love God." That's how we found out who he was. The first thing that we heard from Kanye West was Jesus Walks.
Yeah.
So what he's doing right now is not a far cry from what he began with. So these kids started in the church. Where do you think John Legend got all of his fire from? Common got all his fire. Everybody connects to their spirit.
Okay.
And it's just, it is what it is, and I absolutely love it.
Yeah. So, you named all these hip-hop artists, and, there's hip-hop production that actually kind of bring these artists to the forefront. Are there, like, the equivalent of a Pharrell or a Timbaland in the gospel realm that actually makes, because at the end of the day, everybody's going to, like, listen to what they sonically feel, what they, the message is always there, but again, especially now in this current era, all these, like, ABC raps and stuff like that. Are there, like, producers that kind of could, bring the gospel, music realm into the mainstream a little bit, the actual sounds and everything from producers?
Yeah, we do it all the time. But here's the thing. There are 88 keys on a piano.
Right.
So within those 88 keys, you're going to have folks making the same sounds, saying different things. And as long as they're not copying each other, it's wonderful because it's called music. We have, Pharrell comes from the church. Timbaland loves God. I know him. And here's the thing about, like I said, your passion and your spirit, they always come out in your music. We have Lecrae, who is just phenomenal. Allegra, she's a hip-hop artist. We have, so many people. Of course, the Jerkins brothers, their father is a bishop. So it's in them. So their progression back and forth between R&B, hip-hop, gospel, pop, all of that, that's automatic. There are folks who are producing right now who grew up listening to Teddy Riley. Teddy Riley is another one who, again, had the church experience, had the faith experience, still does. Wonderful young man. So it's hard to separate, and it's really hard to separate black folks from our spirit.
Right.
Because that's where we come from. We can't help but be thankful. We can't help but be grateful. We can't help but express that. I believe that African-American folks, black folks, say Jesus more than anybody.
Yeah, absolutely.
Somebody get on your nerves, Lord. Jesus is better help me now.
Yep.
That kind of thing. So, and we still get back to that one thing. The theme of your faith will show up, especially right now.
Right. Got you. So, I normally ask, like, my hip-hop artists, when I interview them, like, their top 5, dead or alive, like, top 5 artists in hip-hop. And they normally say Biggie, Tupac, blah, 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 down the line. What's the top 5 gospel artists ever, in your opinion?
Oh, I thought you were going to ask me about hip hop.
I mean, we can do 5. We can do 5 hip hop, 5 gospel. It's up to you, Yolanda. You got it.
No problem, no. I'm good. Yeah, but I listen to everything.
Yeah.
A lot of you would be surprised how many hip hop artists, call me Amy. And they have mad respect for me because I'm just who I am. I'm a loving person, and I love people, and I just love to see young people thrive in what they're doing.
Right.
Because
I'm sorry to cut you off, but like the misconception is like, people from the gospel realm kind of look like, look at hip hop kind of like the devil's music. It's
No. You
Okay.
think about, you look at, especially because, I'm much older than you, but you look at the origin of hip-hop. Hip-hop was the word on the street, what's happening in the hood kind of thing that, some people were either ignoring, trying not to see, and then there were some people who weren't even aware of the abuses that were going on. So that's what hip-hop did. Hip-hop brought the realism from the hood, from the legitimate hood, to mainstream to let people know, hey, there's a lot of police brutality happening, there's a lot of this, there's a lot of that. And see, back in the day, the beef between, and then it wasn't really beef, but, the challenge from one MC to the next MC, like I said, hey, I know my music. And so, it was really cool. We didn't have a lot of folks shooting each other and this posse shooting that posse because they said something on Instagram about them, and this one being slaughtered because this person believes they can join the Illuminati by killing a big rapper and all. We didn't have all of that back then.
Absolutely.
We just had legitimate music. Let's go back to Houdini and guys like that. When Queen Latifah was talking about being a queen, and this is what that's the hip hop I'm talking about.
Absolutely. So let's pivot over to cause I can't keep you too much longer. I can ask you questions all day, but I know we're kind of short time. But I just got a couple more, Yolanda. That's all. But let's talk about you being presented the Presidential Lifetime Award for service from President Obama. What was that experience like?
Well, first of all, I honor he and Dr. Michelle Obama, because they forget that she is a doctor. She's an actual lawyer.
Yeah,
so, she has all her papers. She's a really smart lady.
Yeah.
And for me to get that award from the first African-American president, being able to go on the road with both of them to get the vote out, oh man, that just meant so much to me. And then having the opportunity to perform at tons of their celebrations, it just, made me feel good because I knew them before the presidency, before he even thought about running. We have mutual friends in Chicago. So I knew that this man had charisma. I knew that this couple were a power couple, but I didn't know the extent when I met them how amazing that was going to be. And and then it turned out, hey, our president. So knowing that I am being awarded for something that I do anyway, by a person that I deeply admire and glean a lot of knowledge from, it meant the world to me. Because I grew up in a household where we volunteered, where we gave, where we made sure that our neighbors had food, and my dad would make sure that he played football with the kids whose dads weren't around for whatever reason, whether the dad wasn't in the house or whether the dad was working. My dad was a coach, so he did all of these things with the our house was the neighborhood house. Everybody was, Coach Adams. Yeah. So I grew up with that. I had such great examples in my mother and my father and my grandmother and grandfathers that I couldn't help but, give money to the Red Cross, give money to this place, give money to that place, serve on the board of this one and serve on the board for that. I mean, it's a part of who I am.
That's amazing. Let's talk about your endeavors outside of gospel music. You're doing radio. Let's talk about that. What's your transition from actually doing music to actually pivoting into radio?
Well, I never stopped music, so.
I'm sorry. I'm not saying you're old, but yeah.
No. Yeah, but here's the deal. People don't know that my first degree is in radio, TV journalism. So, I was going to do television. My goal was television. It never was radio. And then when my daughter started school, I'm like, I'm going to have something where I can be at home with her during the week, travel and sing on the weekends, do my tours during the summer, and and be able to be a mom to my daughter. And it was the best decision I ever made. And when I asked God for something that would keep me home, He answered my prayer the next week. And Alfred Liggins from Radio 1 called my lawyer and said, hey, y'all want to be in business with us in Houston? We're like, yeah. Like, we're starting a gospel station. Do you guys want to be in business? I'm like, yes. And that was, thank God, so that 360 of not using the degree at that time when I thought I would to using the degree almost 20 years later, that was just beautiful.
So, Yolanda, I can't hold you up too much longer. Can you get everybody your social media? And also, if you want to say a prayer for my people back here in New London, we love that too. But if it's no pressure, but you know what I'm saying?
No pressure at all. You can find me on all social platforms at Yolanda Adams. Please go for the blue check that has the 1.1 million people, or on Facebook, I have the 2.however million people. Don't go to the ones that mimic what because, oh gosh, when I tell you I have to delete 30 pages a day almost, it's ridiculous.
Yeah.
It's just ridiculous. So, you can find that those of you who want to get my products and everything, go to YolandaAdamsLive.com. Those are the two places you can get everything. And if you go to YolandaAdamsLive.com, it'll show you my social media and it'll take you to all of that. And for those of you who are out there and you find yourself a little nervous and you're a little fearful, I came to tell you, don't fear, don't be nervous. I know that's easy for me to say because I am a woman of faith, but you're a person of faith as well. So put your faith to work and let's go to God right now. God, we thank you for this day and we thank you for your amazing grace and your amazing mercy. So now, God, give us the strength to endure this with gladness. Not that we're happy for what's going on, but what we are happy for is that we're expecting something great to come out of this. Lord, keep our families safe, keep our friends safe, and most importantly, let us celebrate you in us all the time. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen.
Amen. So, it's only natural we play a song from Yolanda, and it's fitting. We're going to play This Too Shall Pass. It shall pass. And we're going to play that here on 929. We're going to get into it. Thank you again, Yolanda, for calling in. We got a lot of people checking in. A lot of people who are excited in our community for you calling in. So thank you again. And we're going to get into it.
All right.